Hi
Okay.
everyone. This is the second of our preparatory conversations before the 28th of September. I'm delighted that with me today is Emily LaRue from Spartan and Emma Waring from My Zone. And it's great, to be able to. We're just going to have a chat basically, and I'm going to ask a few questions, all of which should be beneficial to your businesses as and when you decide to start to either enter competitions or host your own competitions. So, Emily, if I could just ask you to, for those that don't know, could you just tell us about Spartan and your role with Spartan, please?
Yeah, of course. So Spartan is an obstacle course race. So Spartan OCR, you might hear the term OCR used a lot. So globally, we are the biggest OCR brand. But Spartan's actually the brand name that owns a number of different brands within the portfolio. So Tough Mudder is also very, very well known in the UK as an obstacle course event. So Spartan and Tough Mudder, for all intents and purposes, are similar. They're obstacle course events and races, and they're designed for anybody from kids all the way through to age groupers up to elite athletes. And it's all about challenging yourself both mentally and physically through a 10, 15, 21-kilometer event, generally with a lot of mud.
How did you how did you get into this?
I actually lived in Japan for some time, and when I was living in Japan, I met Joe DeSena, our CEO, who
Yeah,
had also been to Japan at the time. Interestingly, he was in Japan because he was led to believe the Japanese, although they won't get this OCR thing. So out of sheer bloody mindedness, I think he decided to move there to prove them wrong, which he did because Japan is an incredibly successful market for us.
so when you say move there, what do you mean?
He lived there for a year. I think he'd been married for a year before. So hey,
Oh, I'll go and move there. I'll show.
moved the family to Japan, yeah. But I got really into CrossFit when I was in Japan, in Tokyo.
Yeah,
So I spent 4 or 5 days a week at the CrossFit box. Joe was also there.
yeah.
As you do with Joe, as a lot of people who know him will appreciate, you get talking to him. We found some topic to connect on. And then when I moved back to UK, I got asked to consider coming to work with Spartan, which I did. And I initially started working on the Spartan Women Project, which is all about really creating that very open, welcoming global community for women of all ages, all levels of ability, and welcome them into the Spartan lifestyle. And from there, my role evolved, and I started to work more globally with our licensee partners and working across our sponsorship portfolio.
Brilliant. Thank you. So that's Spartan. So again, for those that don't know, what's DEKA? How did that come about?
So, well, first of all, DEKA means 10.
Yeah,
Um, so the concept with DEKA was as we hit COVID, again, anyone who knows Joe knows he has a heart of gold, and he could quite clearly see that the fitness industry was going to be going through a pretty turbulent time. So our ideas at that point in time to support all of our existing gym partners and that community who work out, train gym, they build their lifestyle around the gym, is what can we do to support them? So DECA was kind of established to allow the gyms to be part of that Spartan community 365 days a year. So hence was born the DEKA product, which allows gyms to become a DEKA affiliate, use the Spartan brand, use all the support that Spartan can offer to be able to curate workouts, really dial into that community piece,
mm.
and offer something to the gyms to support them in terms of their member retention and, importantly, coming out of COVID, that member acquisition, and really give them something really exciting to lock onto, to kind of bring into the community and the lifeblood of their gym. And as a brand, we obviously hope that a lot of those gyms then do travel to our DECA Fit events, our Super Bowl events in cities across Europe, across the US. But fundamentally, it was our solution to really inject a little bit of lifeblood back into that very frazzled fitness industry as we came out of COVID.
Yeah, I like that, frazzled. Why do you think fitness competitions have just gone ballistic, in my opinion? You know, you did thousands of people suddenly entering, you know, and obviously preparing for fitness events. What, you know, you've just talked me through the process you've gone through, but why do you think they're so popular?
Do you know, it's a great question. I don't really think I have my own answer, which a lot of people might not necessarily agree with, but I love to be fit and strong and healthy. I feel very empowered as a woman if I'm in a gym and I've got a barbell out, or I've got the 10 kg dumbbell down, and people look at you like, are you sure you can lift that? That to me is very, very empowering. But I think as a global community, we now recognize that actually a healthy mind and a healthy body is so, so important. I think from a corporate point of view, companies are now finally locking onto the idea that if they've got a healthy workforce, it's a happier workforce and more productive workforce. So I think health and fitness really sits at the heart of a lot of decisions that corporate businesses are making. I think at a grassroots level, community, all day, every day. It's about community. And the idea of going to a spin class where there's 20 other people in that class, and you'll nod to a few people when you walk in, you'll say goodbye. It's just that little buzz of having that human interaction. So when it comes to a CrossFit box or a DEKA affiliate or a Hyrox affiliate, same thing. You walk in there, you see friendly faces, straight away it gives you that buzz. And at the same time, you're getting fit, you're getting healthy, you're taking good care of yourself. So I think it's a bit of an addictive drug in a way, in a good way.
Do you think it gives people, particularly, individuals, a real purpose for their training, who may before have kept fit for whatever personal reasons, but kept fit, but not really had an end goal?
100%. Yeah, we talk about put a date on the calendar and commit to something. So let's say a Spartan ticket costs £100 for a Spartan ticket. It's a lot of money to pay for a ticket for a race. But if you pay that £100, you put the date on the calendar, you're more likely to every day wake up and think, right, what am I going to do today to get ready for that race, which might be in 3 months' time, 6 months, 9 months, however long it is. So we do believe that it's obviously a financial investment that people are making, but we're there every step of the way in terms of making sure they are making that personal investment to train every day. In those days where you think, oh, I just don't feel up for it, actually, because you've got that date on the calendar, that's that little thing that should spur a lot of people on. But then it still comes back to community. If you are part of a community within a gym, actually not seeing your tribe for a few days, you don't feel up for it. Actually, I think that's quite detrimental to a lot of people, and that again will spur a lot of gym members to go back into that gym, even if not feeling 100%.
There's a fear of missing out, isn't there?
Massively, yeah.
If I don't go, I'll miss this, or I'll lose a training session, or whatever. Emma, can I ask you? Thank you, Emily. Emma, I waited for Emily to mention Hyrox. You were instrumental in Hyrox coming to the UK, and more importantly, perhaps, you have built from scratch a Facebook community, which was originally for people who are learning about Hyrox, shall we say, and then it started to grow. How many people are in that community now?
11,500.
Wow.
Yeah. Just going back to what you said about how has fitness racing and fitness competition become so popular, I think there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that people that have always gone to the gym have been training for something that they never knew they were training for, and then the opportunity came along. So they've always gone to the gym, they've perhaps gone 3 times a week, and they've never thought about doing, or they've maybe thought about doing a triathlon, or they've seen people do an Ironman, or they've seen people do a Spartan, or a Tough Mudder, or CrossFit. But CrossFit is exclusive in the way that without those gymnastic technical elements,
Yeah.
you are never going to be able to compete with the regionals or at sanctioned events, because you can't do a toes to bar or a handstand push up or a handstand walk.
Yeah.
So that rules it out for a lot of people. So they've carried on doing fitness, and then all of a sudden the opportunity has come to be able to participate in something that they've always been training for, regardless of what their current fitness level is. So then people see people training in the gym for it and being part of this community, and then they want to be part of it and did join. There's a lot of people that join the Facebook page that have never done a high rocks or never done any competition before, because one of the questions we ask them before they're allowed into the group is, A, they have to agree to the rules, and B, what competitions have you done previously and which gym are you a member of? The biggest answer for a lot of people is, I train at home in my garage, believe it or
Really?
not. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so they're there, then they're searching for a
For a
community.
community, yeah.
Yeah. To be able to be part of, which is really interesting. And then the second element is that it's proven the biggest age range of competitors in this fitness racing scene at the moment, particularly in the UK, are between the ages of 30 and 49. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is like the cash disposable income, that they've got the money to be able to
Yeah.
pay for these races, which some of them have become extortionate, as we know. And secondly, some of these people, or a lot of them, have previously done a sport. They've been competitive in another sport, in hockey, rugby, football. I think there's a guy called John T. Griffiths, who he did one high rocks in Manchester, and then he qualified for the World Championships. He's an international hockey player. He's a GB hockey player. And then he rocked up at the World Champs, having done very little training, only 2 weeks of getting ready for Manchester, qualified for Worlds, rocked up at Worlds, and did exceptionally well without any specific training. So this season, that guy is going to absolutely kill it, because he's trained all summer and specifically trained for it. So there's a lot of people that have done whatever level it is. They've played club rugby, or they've been a swimmer. There's a lot of swimmers in the high rocks community, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, so they've done a huge amount of competitive sports previously. They've come to the end of that career, or they've now been going down a few levels, but they're fit, they're strong.
Yeah, they've got the
They've
foundations, haven't they?
Yeah. But they wouldn't go to CrossFit because they haven't got that gymnastics background. So they've found fitness racing, whatever that is, whether it's DEKA, High Rocks, ATHEX. So it is this. I believe there's two different strands. There's a community element where people have always been training for this and they didn't know they were training for it because they're a gym member, and the runners, like the running community. And then there's the other element where people have previously been a competitor in a different sport, and they're transferring those skills over into the fitness racing scene, where they don't have to be part of a team and commit to a team because now they've got children or whatever it is.
Yeah,
so
but they're still being competitive, and that's sort of in their DNA.
Yeah.
I get you. Brilliant. Well, I mean, well done on what you did with High Rocks in the early days, and that community, which is yours, isn't it, Em, on Facebook?
Yeah.
Who knows what you'll call it next? Emily, just touching on a couple of things you've said. So if I owned a gym, and obviously, Emma, I'm asking you the same question. If I owned a gym, what would be, imagine I'm here and I'm thinking, oh, it sounds a lot of bloody hard work, this, and what are the spin-offs? What are the real benefits long term in just getting this community going and deciding on, we invite you in and DEKA to do DEKA Fit or something like that. What that's the start of the journey. What will we benefit from? How will it help the business?
Well, I think fundamentally DEKA was built on the foundation of, it's a product designed to help gyms retain customers, retain members, and acquire new members. So that's a given. But when you look at the DEKA brand, we've got three main pillars. One is community, one is sport, and one is innovation. So all those gym owners, they have to innovate, because as you've made mention, we've seen an explosion in functional fitness. So what's next? I mean, Les Mills was kind of explode onto the scene, CrossFit explode onto the scene, Harrox explode onto the scene. So I think it's for those gym owners to really be at that forefront of what's the next thing to explode onto the scene, and are they ready for it? And to be ready for that. Now I see it with I think Darren Ford is an amazing example. I mean, this guy and his support team around him, they are full of energy, ideas, they're innovative, they are constantly looking to expand. When you see how he how he works with his community, and like, what an amazing guy. His members just must be just addicted to like just hearing him speak, and that must give them enough of a buzz to kind of take them back time and time again. So I think it's learning from other people, isn't it? A gym box should be able to connect with their neighbours up and down the M6 in the case of north of England. What's everyone doing that's kind of drawing more members in, or what are members talking about? So it's those open lines of communication, so that every gym owner is ready for that next explosion on the functional fitness scene. What Spartan will do, and Tough Mudder as a brand, and DEKA, is we welcome anyone to come into our community. And that therefore allows people to meet other like-minded people, share ideas, bounce ideas off other people. So I'm not sure if that's a clear answer to your question, but I think there's no one simple question. Everyone is different. Every gym is different. Every membership is different.
Do you think if I was a PT in a gym and my boss is considering bringing you guys in, what would the spin-offs be? I'll ask you this one, Emma. What would the benefits be? What could I do as a result of Emily's brand coming into the gym I work in?
Well, I think over and above the financial benefit of being able to pivot off the DEKA brand and be able to host DEKA events, which are ticketed events, which our HQ team in the US is supporting with, it's about that gym becoming a pillar of the community. So whether it's a Spartan or a DEKA or a Hyrox or an Ironman, it's the ability for that gym to actually take their community to places that they might not necessarily decide to go on their own. And I actually had a really interesting meeting with a huge gym chain in Spain, and they said very clearly they know the success of the growth of their membership is down to what they do outside of their gym, not inside their gym. So if they can take their gym community to other events and expose them to other exciting opportunities that helps them grow as individuals and helps that community grow, that's going to come back and positively impact the success of that gym.
Okay.
So I think it's about being outside of the gym, the four walls of the gym.
Yeah. Emma, how would a PT do that? What sort of things, practical things, could a PT do? To do the things Emily's talked about, and also improve their own revenue.
I think some seagulls in the background there, Graham.
Yes, I have an aviary full of seagulls here in the room.
Right, removing the seagulls from my brain. Yeah, as a PT, I think it's the basics. For me, it's always the basics. And you use something like DEKA as a tool to be able to create the community, speak to those 80%ers. DEKA is all about inclusivity. So if you can't run or you're not a runner, you can do strong. Graham, it'd be perfect for you, DEKA Strong. So it's perfect for me because I can't run at the moment. So DEKA Strong is like, it gives you an opportunity to compete without having to run. Mile has got some running in it, Fit's got a bit more running in it. But DEKA, in terms of inclusivity, is possibly the best product out there on the market at the moment in terms of fitness racing to allow any level to compete, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because Emily's sat here. So what you're doing is you're introducing as a PT, if you're a DEKA affiliate, people into the community that are at the start of their journey. And if you're getting people at the start of their journey and you're treating them properly, you're speaking to them, you're communicating with them, you're including them in the community and enabling them to improve their health through having a competition like DEKA as your goal, and then they're going through that experience of near death in the DEKA Strong event or the DEKA Fit or the DEKA Mile, then, and they're being part of something that's being hyped up. As a PT, you set your programming around that and help them to get to the goal that they want to get to. At the same time, they're then recommending people, they're loving everything. It's a little bit like GP referrals. With GP referrals, when they come to you as a trainer, they never go anywhere else because they've never experienced it unless you are terrible at what you do. They've never experienced anything else, and you've helped them improve their health, and you've got them from point A to point B to point C and all the way through their rehab. The same with the people coming into DEKA. You've given them an opportunity to achieve something that they thought was impossible.
Yeah.
And you've
never
helped them get there.
imagined it. They never
Yes,
imagined.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it is a pain. It's painful. The competition is painful. If you're giving it everything, regardless of what your fitness level, if you're a fittest person in the world, you are going to be in pain during DEKA if you're going for it. So it doesn't matter what time you finish in, you're on a global leaderboard, and then you can see improvements as a personal trainer. So you sit down with your clients and you can then look at, where can I improve? Where can I make some extra time up? Where can I save some time? How can I get stronger at this element? And it's about analysing, not just letting somebody go and do a competition and then go, well done, let's go to the next one. It's about analysing and looking and communicating and spending time and building a relationship. So.
And do you think, therefore, that because you once said to me that something you'd noticed, Emma, was that trainers, they almost evolve into coaches. They get better, their skills, they learn more. They and then you just said what you go, it's a difficult one, but I think a coach would analyze various elements of your competition, wouldn't they, if you were a client of theirs? And I think, is it fair to say that those people, and especially people watching this, if your team members get involved, if your staff get involved, they will get better at what they do?
Yeah, definitely. And they will learn how to manage some of these clients that they have and how to get the best out of them. And generally, the best clients you can get are your 80%ers, the people that are sat there thinking they could never do anything like this, and then transforming them into somebody that's completed something like a DEKA Strong, because they will tell everyone, because they came from here and now they're here. I think it's an important thing to not be speaking to those 20%ers in your gym as a personal trainer. And we say it all the time, the 80%ers are where DEKA Strong is at or where DEKA Mile is at, because that's the inclusivity level. And you bring them in and they will then tell everybody. And if you do a good job, then it's a great opportunity to increase your revenue, your recommendations, your referral, your prospect generation, because people want to bring a friend, and secondary spend, plus the fees to be able to compete if you're hosting a DEKA Strong or a DEKA Mile in your facility. So there's lots of opportunity, but you have to be able to put the work in.
And you know what? Emma just said something there about people achieving things they didn't think was possible. And if you look at a lot of nutrition brands, they come out with phrases such as, and just trying to quote one now, we believe that elite athletes and everyday people can do extraordinary things, and it happens all the time. So, everyone has their own level of ordinary and extraordinary. And it's great the nutrition brands get behind that, and they're delivering a range of products to help people do that. But that's, it's a product. What we're creating in Hyrox and other brands, we're creating that community to actually bring it to life. So, and that's why, we work with a lot of nutrition brands for that reason. They've got the science, they've got the education, but we have got that community to bring it into the everyday. But I think that whole point about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and absolutely every single person can achieve that, because everyone has their own level of what defines success, what defines ordinary, what defines extraordinary. And that's the beauty of any functional fitness, is you can set your own goals. And that's where a PT and the good PTs are fantastic, because they set that level and they keep pushing you throughout that journey.
So Emily, last question, and then I'll ask you the same one, Emma. If I was a gym manager, and you give me one piece of advice on how to build a community, what would be your little golden nugget?
You know what? I'd say come and have a coffee with me and Emma. We'll talk for hours, and you'll find a couple of nuggets in a couple of hours worth of you'll hear all sorts and pick out what works for you. But I honestly don't think there is a golden nugget. Well, I think there's many golden nuggets, but I think there's not one, because every person's different, every gym's different, every community is different, the membership is different, the goals are different. So
do you have, Emily, there's a great point you make there. So would the DEKA Strong community be different to the DEKA Mile community, for example? I'm not saying this completely separate, but would they?
I don't think different. I think the dynamics might be different. To Emma's point, it's like, I've just had a hip replacement, as you know, so I can't run. I'm not allowed to run. I'm banned from running. It's driving me insane. But could I get through DEKA Strong? Probably. I'd be a bit rubbish, but I could get through it, and I could not do a DEKA Mile. And there are so many people that I meet now who just can't run for various reasons, because, to Emma's point, they've come from a professional sports background and they just can't do it anymore. It's just not worth it. But that we don't want to exclude anyone, that's completely off the cards. So the DEKA Strong dynamic will be individuals who are incredible athletes in their own way. So I don't really think you can distinguish between the communities across a DEKA Strong, a Fit, or a Mile. I think they're all kind of bonded by that love of being part of an innovative sport, a big movement, and big part of a community. And celebrating, we talk about celebration of fitness, that's exactly what it is. Whether you do a 1 mile run or you do a set with dumbbells, it's still a celebration of fitness, however you look at it.
Thank you, Emily. Emma, what do you think?
I'll still say, come and have a coffee with me and Emma. We'll
that's just book a day out.
Yeah, that is a good point, actually. But I think the community is the same, whether it's DEKA, Hyrox, Athex, Forders, HPC, whatever it is, because they're then bought into competing, whatever competition they want to do. They're all part of a competitive network in that community in a gym. So, and they're always looking for the next thing as well, because they want to test themselves. And once people start testing themselves, they want to test even more, because they've decided that, I can do this. So I think the golden nugget, or one little golden nugget, is the inclusivity side of it. It's got to be in your facility. You've got to make everybody feel as though they can do this. The worst thing that could happen, in my opinion, is having a clique of people training for something that it makes it look as though you've got to be brilliant to be part of. Because if you do that, you ruin the whole concept of the community. Brilliant. You've got to have different ages, different abilities, different genders, a split. Women put themselves out there more than men do in terms of these competitions. And that's never really happened before. It's always felt as though it's a bit of a men's thing to do, they turn up and smash it. But there's so many women, because women bring other women, because they bring a support network with them. So if you get one woman, you get 10. So inclusivity and making everybody feel welcome, regardless of what their ability is, that's the key to building a community. Never being a clique in the gym, because then it just completely ruins the whole thing.